Moin, ihr wunderbare Menschen des Interwebs. Ich begrüße euch ganz herzlich zurück zu meinem Let's Play von The Great Ace-Attorney Chronicles. Wir wollten einmal zu dem Pawnbroker gehen, um zu sehen, ob wir die Stradivari wiederbekommen von Mr. Sholmes. A new location has been added. Oh, wir könnten sogar in die Baker Street gehen. Oh, ich glaube, ich möchte mal zuerst in die Baker Street hier. Oh, okay. Kann ich mir nicht wirklich was angucken. Schade. Gut, dann Winnie Banks Pawnbrokery. So, this is a British pawnbrokery. Oh my, there are all sorts of tools and contraptions in here what I've never laid eyes on before. Susato-san, and that spark of wonder in your eyes. You can't wait to score the shelves, can you? I get the impression you enjoy places like this. Oh yes, I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is a really thrill for me. My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. You're calling on matters of business, not pleasure. And clearly, Mr. Sholmes means business too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes. Ah, Mr. Sholmes, sir, welcome back. Did you hear the brazen welcome? Well, yes, we are potential customers after all. We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruhodo, and it's time to inform Mr. Windybeck of our ire. Come, the fight is afoot. Naturally, you will recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes. This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Windybank. The color of the wood is different, it has holes in it, it's not even the same size. A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes. I am so sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me, an inexcusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. I shall have to take my own life. I don't think that will be necessary, do you? If I may just say one thing before I pop off. Yes? It was you, sir, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe. Sorry. As I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch your violin when I heard, oh, here it is. You did. And when I turned to controvert you, you had taken the viola and left her. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly at my own door for allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble or bruise any longer. May this guilt die with me. No, stop, my dear fellow. The fault is mine. It would appear that the fight is over. I do humbly apologize, Mr. Windybank. Evidently, my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy. Well, you wouldn't be Mr. Sherlock Sholmes without that questionable disposition, now, would you? Disposition. I do believe you may be right, sir. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I needn't remind you of the peculiar collection of items you've brought through my door in the past. Oh, peculiar items? In the extreme, ma'am. For example, the unpublished manuscript for an eponymous work, the novels of Sherlock Sholmes or some such. Oh my, a new full-fledged novel? An unpublished? A story I have yet to read, you mean? Oh, forgive me. Wait, before you die, you must tell me more. Ich muss sagen, okay, wie sage ich das jetzt? Also ich persönlich finde es jetzt nicht schlimm, dass das jetzt so dargestellt wird.
Aber auf der anderen Seite denke ich mir jetzt, also, muss man das, ich meine, irgendwo ist es ja schon, ne, Suizid. Also, mit was er droht. Auch wenn das jetzt so in der Story so lustig ist oder so, ich weiß nicht, ob das in einem Game, das ab 12 ist, einfach nur so einfach mal dahin gebatscht werden sollte, weil, sagen wir Storytime, ich leide unter manischen Depressionen seit 14 Jahren jetzt, fast 15 Jahren. Und ich habe mit Suizidversuchen und auch selber mit einem Suizid in meinem Freundeskreis mich schon auseinandersetzen müssen. Und deswegen bin ich so ein bisschen, ich weiß nicht, ich persönlich finde es jetzt nicht schlimm, dass es jetzt im Game ist, aber auf der anderen Seite denke ich mir auch wieder, okay, ich weiß nicht, ob man das einfach so locker flockig darstellen sollte. Also so, oh, ich drohe jetzt einfach mit Suizid, einfach mal so. Ich werde es wahrscheinlich nicht machen, aber ich tue das jetzt einfach mal. Weiß nicht, ob das, weiß ich nicht, ist schwierig. Wie gesagt, wenn ich jetzt einfach so sehe als Game und als Gag, denke ich mir, okay, ich persönlich nehme es jetzt halt nicht so ernst, aber, also mich triggert es auch nicht, aber ich denke dann immer wieder so weiter und denke mir dann, okay, wenn das Spiel jetzt halt wirklich ein Kind spielt und das dann so sieht, ob das dann nicht vielleicht den falschen Eindruck bekommt und dann einfach denkt, solche Sachen zu machen oder anzudrohen ist dann normal. Wisst ihr, was ich meine? Ich weiß nicht, ob ich jetzt ich weiß nicht, ob ich überreagiere. Ja, aber wie gesagt, also ich persönlich, jetzt von meiner Perspektive aus, ist es für mich okay, wenn er es tut. Aber, ja, wie gesagt, würde mich jetzt nur wieder wiederholen. I must know more, tell me everything. Wow, Suzuto-san is really fired up now. Und ich weiß auch, dass es, ja, also ich sag mal es gibt auch sehr, sehr schwarzen Humor teilweise in meinem Freundeskreis, wo manche Sachen für mich auch unter der Gürtellinie sind, wo ich mir sage, okay, nee, das geht mir zu weit. Aber andere sind dann wieder so, finden es lustig und eben finden es cool. Und das ist eben dann wieder so, das muss jeder für sich selber entscheiden. Also, ne, wie weit man mit einem Humor gehen kann. Is there really an unpublished story under this very roof?
Well, one day the gentleman here brought in an old metal chest, you see. I should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Randybank. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir, not a farthing more. It houses something of a very great value indeed. The latest manuscript recounting the adventures of one Mr. Herlock Sholmes. I beg your pardon, a manuscript? You wish to deposit the manuscript? Indeed I do, for I am confident it will be quite safe here. And that was that. As such, Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom. Mr. Sholmes, is it really true? Do I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this? I continue to pay your fee, do I not? Then kindly continue to store my belongings securely. Of course, sir, of course. They are safe and sound with me, I assure you, on my life. This is all very strange. Oh, ups. Nein, jetzt habe ich's falsch geklickt. Ich wollte eins weiter nach unten. Jetzt muss man das einmal schnell überspringen. Tut mir sorry. Das war ein terrible Missklick. So, jetzt aber. Hier, Pawnbrokery. I wonder, could I ask you something? A gentleman from the east, I see. Yes, that sable suit. I suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? But for your splendid attire, ma'am, 5 Guinness, no less. The colors are exquisite, the design exotic, Eastern artistry at its finest, may I say.
Oh my, 5 Guinness, you say? How interesting.
Why do I feel as though I've suffered some sort of defeat here?
Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said the pawnbrokeries are used rather like banks here in London.
Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilize the establishment as you describe. I appraise their items and offer them a proportionate loan and 2 months of secure stowage. If in that time they repay the original sum to me plus the agreed interest, their items are happily returned.
But what happens if they don't pay you the money?
Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me.
So you never sell items before the 2 months has passed then?
That's right, ma'am, that's right. Which means some considerable responsibility rests on my shoulders. Should a customer's precious belongings be lost, the only recompense is for me to end it all.
The very idea, Mr. Windybank, is an absurdity.
One should never talk of one's demise so casually.
That's the man who was telling us all it was a good day to die only this morning.
And let us not forget that I have already helped you take measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs.
Oh, what sort of measures?
I engineered a simple device which Mr. Windybank has installed here in his shop. I call it the red-handed recorder. Is it not so, Mr. Windybank?
What was that deep sigh about?
What on earth is a red-handed recorder? Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are 2 just below the ceiling.
I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device.
Very astute. It is indeed a camera furnished with some 100 pieces of celluloid film, and every 30 minutes precisely the camera automatically records the appearance of the shop. Here I have an example I can show you.
Ah yes, a print from the camera set to record the activity at the shop counter.
I developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image even in darkness.
Really? That's extraordinary. Yes, you can clearly see the counter and the door behind it, look.
So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed.
But did you not say that the photographic prints were taken at 30 minutes intervals?
Indeed, as you say, my dear madam.
Then what if the incident were to occur in between times?
One could only say that would be a cruel twist of fate. I must confess your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late. I beg your pardon, Mr. Windybank, surely they are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously placed not 1 but 2 cameras in my shop after all, which means I must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day. I'm afraid the cost of the film will break me before I'm very much older. Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbroker, no? My dear fellows, we verge on an age where safety and security come at a price. Oh, heaven help us. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin. Ah, the very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windybank. Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you tried to pop, Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer. I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt. Peter, not. Sorry. I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be harmed. That's not really what I meant. Good day to you, then, Mr. Windybank. It's been a pleasure, as always, Mr. Sholmes.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, Now we can explore it last. Okay, dann würde ich sagen, gucken wir uns hier einmal um. Look at this, what could this lovely big shiny box be?
That, my dear madam, is a music box. Surely you have such things in your own country.
Oh my, yes, but I've certainly never seen one so large before.
Shall we listen a while?
Ah, what a sublime sound. It's like the music of angels.
I've never heard anything like it before in my life. This particular specimen is of the larger variety, commonly found in public houses and restaurants. There is a metal disc inside on which the notes to be played are recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be played.
My goodness, what a simply delightful machine.
Indeed, though their popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course.
Science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. What an assortment of things there are on these shelves here. Crockery, footwear, clocks, and watches. Almost anything you care to imagine.
Those are forfeited items offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does it really mean, though? When you pawn, or colloquially pop, an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. He stores the item for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be repaid. If not, he is free to display it in his shop for sale, at a price of his choosing. Oh yes, now you've explained it. I'm noticing little price tags on everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. My treasured university uniform? Never. It embodies my student spirit.
Look at that enormous ledger open on the counter there.
Mr. Winniebank is, if nothing else, very particular about recording the items he accepts. He would have to be, otherwise he would get himself into all sorts of trouble, which might explain the thing that catches my eye far more than the ledger. This revolver here. Do not entertain even a single thought of pilfering an article herein, my dear fellow. I assure you, Mr. Winniebank would not hesitate to draw that weapon with a speed belling his poorly size.
You don't mean he would...
Blow his brains out, indeed, in recompense for his blunder.
Oh my. But in any case, of course we would never do such a thing. How could you even suggest it?
There seems to be a little door hidden behind that curtain there. That leads to the storage room, where Mr. Winniebank keeps articles that are currently in pawn.
Ah, I see.
There's nothing of particular interest inside. I certainly wouldn't recommend any larcenous activity. Recommended or not, it's not something I tend to do. There is but one key, and Mr. Winniebank keeps it in his pocket at all times. Before he sleeps, he places it into a small pot, which he slides under his pillow. Oh, how on earth do you know about that, Mr. Sholmes? I am a detective, sir. It's my business to know what others do not. I'm frequently assailed by information that I neither care for nor wish to retain.
Mr. Sholmes, you are a wonder.
And the prime suspect of this pawnbrokery is ever burgled. Okay. Ich glaube, auf dieser Seite hier können wir uns sonst nichts mehr angucken.
Now what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does?
It seems to have two little windows for looking through. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What you're looking at is a stereoscope.
Fascinating.
It is aptly named, I assure you. Looking through the eyepieces and see for yourself.
Oh, I should be delighted to. Excuse me a moment while I just have a look.
Just before you do, there is something I should point out. My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopically as it were, you will need to be cross-eyed. However, if that is beyond you, it is of little consequence today.
Alright then, I'm going to try it. Mr. Naruhodo, you must see at once.
Alright then. So I need to be cross-eyed like I'm trying to look at my own nose? What the... I don't believe it. It's just a photographic print, but it seems like you could reach out and touch it. Yes, the sense of death is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fates. Ich glaube, der Effekt wäre jetzt auf einem Nintendo 3DS weitaus besser gewesen. They are often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them.
Why are people meddling with such black magic?
It is no magic, my dear madam. It is, well, far too complicated to explain at present. We shall save this lesson for another day. That's not a calendar you could easily miss, is it? Today's date. Yes, that's not for sale, I must point out. It is an Eastern-style page-a-day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date. The perfect calendar for tear-away fellows such as yourself, Mr. Windybank. And who was it who walked out of there with the wrong violin before? Well, when the agreed storage period has passed without repayment, articles are forfeited, you see. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. It's something of a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say.
Oh yes, I can see you are very dedicated to your job. Look at this, whatever could it be used for?
I have no idea.
There's a small cat just here, look.
We are going to open it, aren't we?
Oh my, that's amazing. It has some sort of spring-loaded mechanism,
which we will never manage to put back the way it was before. What are you two doing? What? Us? Nothing. No, nothing at all. Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. I feel as though I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. Wood? Only tuppence for it? That ain't fair, and you know it. The article is barely worth a penny, miss. I cannot offer more. Sounds like there's an argument brewing over by this counter. Come on, that can't be right. Have you even had a proper butcher's at it? I've seen all I need to see, young girl. Wait, don't we know? I'm sure I recognize her.
Oh yes, it's the young lady from Mr. McGillet's trial 2 months ago.
Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns it across among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. Gina Lestrade war der Name, glaube ich.
Cordon bene, you lot. Hello, Miss Lestrade. I hope you've been as well. You've been well. Would you remember me then, do you?
Well, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure.
So, what are you doing in here? Down and out like the rest of us? Nothing to eat? Come to pop that black weasel? Sorry, codify.
What is it about this black uniform that makes everyone comment on it? Good day, unless I'm much mistaken. You would be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke grenade launcher.
Mr. Sholmes.
So, you have something of value to pawn, do you? Allow me to see the article, and I shall negotiate with Mr. Windybank on your behalf. Pull the other one, I don't need help from some stuck-up D. Get out of my business, go on or I will make trouble for you. As you wish, Miss Lestrade, I will happily remove myself from your presence. He's really done it, he's gone. I'm sorry, but as I said, there really is no room for negotiation there. What is that thing he has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc? And you, go on, leave me alone. Oh, Miss Lestrade, just pretend we aren't here. We shan't be offended in the slightest. Suzuto-san can really stand her ground when she wants to. Whatever. Somehow I didn't really think you were the sort of person who would use a pawnbroker, Miss Lestrade. Yeah, well I am, alright. I'm a Londoner just like everyone else. That a problem, is it? No, not at all. It's just that, well... Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably don't even belong to her. Probably got it on the dive, didn't she? Yeah, I can see it written all over your Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruhodo? Alright then, I'm just going to come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I do know the best to answer that really, I suppose sometimes. You're not going to deny it either, Mr. Lestrade? But not this time, alright, I swear, that thing belongs to me. The disc that Mr. Windybank is holding? Perhaps we should see what he has to say about all this. Mr. Windybank, what exactly is this metal disc that Miss Lestrade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. Oh, this is a music disc, you see, for use inside a music box. In a music box? What, you don't even know what a music box is? You Eastern Lord ain't too savvy, eh? I know what a music box is, I just never seen one of these discs before. The small protrusions on the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and beautiful music plays. It's so incredible. Tell us what tune is on this disc. Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There are so many different types of music box, you see. British made, German, Swiss. I have no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. Ah, I see. And that's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. That's a packet of lies. He told me he did. He said it was well. He? Who? Never you mind. It just ain't right, that's all. That disc's worth good money. I know it is. Well then, you will have to try your luck at another pawnbrokers, won't you? She's been in before, of course. This little tatterdemalion. I see. And brought some dubious article or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I am an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the disc she brought in today? Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. A storage ticket? So, Miss Lestrade has actually come to redeem an article from you today, is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me has a lot of stuff would need storing. Alright, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight, but as she gave me the ticket for it and repaid both the loan and the interest, I was obliged to return the article to her. But what was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Windybank. The little scamp is wearing it, ma'am. It's the overcoat that she redeemed.
What's wrong with that? If it fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. So what about the disc then? How does that come into all this?
Oh, the disc is something else. A new article to pawn if the girl and I can agree a price.
I'm confused. I thought you said that Miss Lestrade brought in a storage ticket today.
It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owned on it as you say.
Or this heavy black coat, which you returned to her care, as I would understood it.
That's right, yes, and rather
unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, surprisingly,
she went riffling through the pockets.
Oh, you mean... What, don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady? Ah, I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it?
If you mean the disc, then yes, exactly, ma'am.
And she immediately tried to pawn it? For quite a high price as well. This is all rather suspicious, I think. Give it up. I'm just trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Miss Lestrade, may I ask who disposed the overcoat here in the first place? Well, me.
It doesn't really appear to be your size.
Me, old man. It's me, old man's, ain't it? Is it, Miss Lestrade?
Yes, this is definitely all rather suspicious. Out of my way, please.
Who's this picture postcard English gentleman?
Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen.
What's your problem, eh?
There is no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I have a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve.
Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line.
Well, you are an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket.
Who are you? Don't you know who I am?
The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems.
What do you mean from you?
Broker. Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you now. Yes, the article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once.
Oh my. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull?
Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel, and needless to say, any music box discs too.
No, you can't have it. You just can't. It ain't me, old man's. Or it was, now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. This is a very awkward situation.
I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Okay, das Ganze werden wir uns auch anhören, vielleicht finden wir dann auch noch raus, wer dieser Gentleman ist, dieser arrogante Gentleman. Und ja, mal gucken, ob die beiden dann auch was vielleicht mit unserem nächsten Fall zu tun haben, weil wir bisher immer noch keinen wirklichen Fall haben. Deswegen bin ich ja mal gespannt, wie das Ganze jetzt noch weitergehen wird und was da noch ja, bei rauskommt. Aber wie gesagt, hier gibt es jetzt erstmal einen Cut. Ich bedanke mich ganz herzlich fürs Zusehen. Hoffe, ihr hattet Spaß. Und wenn ihr mögt, sehen wir uns sehr, sehr gerne im nächsten Part wieder. Bis dahin, ciao!